Happy spring, everyone. This is the first day. And, Skip didn't get my snide remark in chat today, so I'm just going to do it live. Our weather person in Nebraska would like to remind us that the reason why our snow was so dirty yesterday was because of Texas.
Okay. Yeah.
And Skip had just got done lecturing us about how they have brownouts in Texas, and that means not loss of electricity, but rather same as a whiteout with a dust storm.
Yep.
And so that was funny that yesterday the weather person's like, yeah, the brown snow is because of dust from Texas.
Yep. Yeah. We get so much of it, we just got to get rid of it.
Just ship it. That's how we get our topsoil from. We just wait for Texas to blow all the crap our way.
We got plenty more.
It's not Oklahoma because it's not red. It's just that brown, the sad brown, a little black to it, a little char.
That's the barbecue sauce.
That's the barbecue sauce. I thought that came from Kansas.
No.
Anyways, so today I'm back. I am no longer hacking out I'm still hacking out my lungs, but apologies to anyone who has the plague as well. It seems to be going around. It's nasty stuff. But today we're talking about quoting versus proposing. I think we came up with this topic somewhere around 2022, where we realized that people didn't know the difference. Like MSPs tend to do everything as a quote.
Yes.
Which drives me crazy. What are you doing? It's like skipping right to, I don't know. Where's a delicate way to put this in the dating scenario?
Careful.
You got to set the table first. You got to cook the meal. You got to have a discussion.
Yes, absolutely.
And so going right to quoting is like treating your client like a prostitute. Like you just want the money out, But if you work with a proposal, you're setting that table. You're asking them, hey, what does this relationship look like to you? How can we work together better? And how can I make sure that you're getting what you want out of this deal? So before that you go on the date, for the analogy, hey, where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Are you wanting to go to like more of a Cajun restaurant? Do you want to go to like a 5-star dining? Do you want to go get a big boy burger? Like what does this look like to you? Want some putt-putt golf? Do you want a symphony? Do you want a full-on Broadway play? What is it that a night out looks like for you?
Yeah.
And so you're proposing a discussion.
There we go.
And this even works even better because when you're proposing a marriage, you're saying, hey, here's a life together. How do you want to build this? And so you want to talk to your client the same way. I know it's cheesy, but it works, people, as an analogy. Stop going right to the quote. Here's how things are going to work. If you go in and say a date, like, we're going to do all these things. Some people like that. They just like to be told, like, hey, we're going to go. I'm to work about the decision. Hey, we're going to go to Blue Orchid. We're going to get sushi. We're going to hit a movie afterwards, or we're going to hit the symphony afterwards, or we're going to, in our case, a play or something afterwards, and then we're gonna hit the warm cookie afterwards.
No.
And my wife's gonna be like, done. But I already know my wife really well. I know where she wants to go with this. She wants to have a nice night where she doesn't make any decisions, and I already know what she likes, so I'm just gonna plan out a bunch of things that she likes and I like, and we're gonna have a great time.
There you go.
Before you know this person, you've got to discover it, and that is the art of the proposal. Is I propose we do this tonight. Let's go and do something. How do you feel about this? Well, I'm allergic to sushi. Okay, let's think of something else. Or I don't have enough money for that. Oh,
that's true.
Let's Netflix and chill tonight then. Cool. Then you get started the argument of what do you watch on Netflix? But once you have the proposal committed to by your partner, then you can start talking about how much it's going to cost. Is this a $300 night? Is this a $20 night? I mean, when my wife and I first dating, we had this beautiful thing we called the $20 date night. And you city folk are like, can't be done.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, around 2000, we could go out to a movie, we could get ice cream, and we get Chipotle for under $20. I think it cost like $18.50 because we had BOGO cards. We had a system, right?
And you worked it. Yep.
And we worked it, and that was our evening. Today, like Can't really do that anymore because the $2 theater isn't around anymore, and a lot of those BOGO cards aren't available. And honestly, I just don't want to go through the work of getting all the coupons together. So an evening out is like $100 instead. Sometimes it's $300. It depends on what we're doing. And so we
let me bring in one
other
element here. So if you're not really catching it, if you're like, oh, I don't do that, I don't, I don't treat my customers that way. Let me ask you this. And I hear this all the time from MSPs. So I know this is not an isolated incident. You have customers that just don't want to sit down and have discussions with you, whether it's QBRs or strategic sessions or whatever you're talking about, right? You get on this bandwagon. Oh yeah, I want to have more meaningful conversations with my clients, and you try to do that, and they will not meet with you. I mean, you have better luck hunting them down in the parking lot than you do getting a face-to-face meeting in their office.
That's stalking.
Yeah, it is. And the idea is, to flip another, kind of analogy over here, when you get that person that, ignores the sign that's outside of your front door, right? And they come knocking on the door, right? And they've got a little clipboard or iPad now, right? They're in some sort of company little uniform, all right? As soon as you open that door, the whole premise of them being there, they're trying to sell you something, all right? They're pushing something. They have no idea if you really need it, really want it, or even want to talk to them, all right? They're pushing to make a sale, all right? And if your clients don't want to meet with you, you're probably in a role like I am, where when I see those people at the front door, I don't want to answer the door, right? I'm like, go away. I don't want all this. And if you've got quoting as your lead, if you're leveraging quotes to facilitate your conversations with your clients, when you're pushing that at the very beginning, you are in that same position as door-to-door sales. And it's just not, it's not a place where I think many of us want to be, right? We want to build, strong companies with really good client relationships, businesses that we can count on for recurring business over and over and over and over again, at higher margins than just commodity prices. So if we have all those objectives out there for us, why would we want to try to meet those objectives with a door-to-door salesman approach? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. People come and say, hey, it's going to be $2,500 to do this. Like, sometimes you're like, oh, cool. That gives me exactly what I want. They're solving a direct problem for me for $2,500. You know what? Maybe I buy that $2,500 service and we part ways. You know what wasn't built there? A relationship.
That's right.
The door-to-door salesman comes up and says, I will wash all the windows to your house. I had one of these the other day. I'll wash all the windows to your house. It'll be, $11.50 a window or whatever it was. And we'll get it done. They're going to wash my windows. They're going to make their money and they're going to leave. And next time they're done, I'm not going to call them back.
Right. Yeah, that's it. It was money. It was good money while it lasted. Yep. But you're not gonna pay them again next month.
So look at the good service folk in your area. They chat you up a bit. They talk to you. They try to build a relationship. When you build a proposal in your system, when you say, hey, you want to get all this done, here's how much this is going to cost. Let's talk about whether or not this is going to fit into your budget for 2025. And proposals are not exact. They're basically that's what your MSRP is for. Everybody keeps saying MSRP, and they think, oh, well, I'll give you 20% off MSRP. That's not what MSRP is for. It is a sales tactic, yes. But the goal is, this is the budgetary item for this server, this PC, this asset, this license, or whatever it is. We won't know until we get closer to the date of purchase what's going on. Hey, I want to take you on a date in April of next year. Let's hit up Annie on Broadway. Let's hit up this restaurant, and then let's go out for drinks afterwards. It's going to cost probably around $400 for the night. I'm not exactly certain, but I'm proposing we do that in April. Let's start saving up now because we're poor people. and let's have $400 available by next April so we can have this wonderful evening.
Yep.
Come to the day, start like checking out, like, okay, it's actually going to cost this much. I was able to get us cheaper tickets to Annie. I was able to get us, there's this really cool bar down there that's going to be a little bit more expensive. And that restaurant we wanted actually has a date night special we're going to take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And now you get your actual quote and your cost.
Yep.
Oh, it's less than $400. Great. That's fantastic because we were able to save some money. That's what you say. We got it for 10% under MSRP. It's the same idea, people. You already, I hope you know how to do this. Like, these are IT people to hear we're talking about, Skip.
Yes.
Not known for their social prowess, you know. So maybe this is new news to all of you, and I'm giving you great dating advice. But this is how the world works. You got to propose.
Before we go too far, let me flip back to that when that night comes in over $400, though. All right, because we can't always predict this, and it's not a deal breaker. All right, and you don't necessarily have to cut things to make that $400 mark, because in doing that little scenario that you mapped out, you're outlining the expectations. All right, you're defining the value, and in some ways you're building the anticipation. All right, when you have for more practical analogy, when you have a proposal out there that fixes a problem for your clients, and they're seeing that, it's like, oh yeah, next month we won't have to endure this problem, and they get a bit of anticipation building into that. And when it comes due, it's like, we missed our budget mark here. We're actually going to be 10% over on this one. Many times it's like, that's okay, because I really want this, right? And they're willing, if you're on that date and you've been planning on this and saving this up, and that bill, you do a little budget estimate before and go, wow, this is actually going to be $450 for this. You and your wife are like, I've got some spare change around here somewhere, right? Yeah. Because you want to do it. There's nobody dragging you in that. You're not waiting for an excuse for someone to say, it's $450, and your wife go, oh, great, now we can get out of this, right? That's not the process you've been working on.
Yes, and that's why proposal is as old as time. Mm-hmm. It's integrated into our society. It is mentally preparing yourself to commit to a project. And so we talk about, everybody's going to say, go right to quote. Here's how we make quoting easier. Here's how you can get a quote to your client easier. If you're just sending the quote to your client with no precursor discussion, you're probably going to have a very low close rate.
No.
And be like, well, do QBRs. Those will help you close your quotes more. And like, nope. That's because you're actually meeting with the client and having a discussion with them. It has nothing to do with a QBR.
It does.
You now have an excuse to talk to your client. If you'd have done that in the first place, over a pint of beer or donuts in the office, whatever it is, your client would have been like, hey, you know what? I like the quote, but can we take these things out? Because I really don't think they're going to benefit us. Yeah. You just spent 6 hours putting together this quote. If you had just told them, hey, here are the 6 things we want to do, it's going to cost about $18,000 next year over the next 12 months. What do you think? They're going to be like, you know what? If you just get rid of those 3 things, can we do a remote strategy instead? Or is it okay, I can get rid of those 3 things. We'll have some extra time. Do you want us to work on a work from home strategy for you? Or come back to work strategy for you? What do you want us to do to help you out here?
Yeah.
And suddenly you have what you need. You have a relationship, and now you can quote them something that they're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a relationship, and you may sit there and be building up that quote and go, oh, Cisco now has this feature, or Dell now has this thing. I think they would be interested in that. Let me call them back up. Hey, I'm building this proposal for you. Would you like to be able to do this too? I know you've got like 13 sites, but this will make things so much easier for you. It's going to cost about 20% more.
Yep. And as you talk through those, yes, and that's another really positive element. As you talk through those, there are going to be many times when the client understands what the real value is for them, and they're going to have these aha moments. They're going to be able to say, wait, if we can do this, then would we be able to do something this one step more? And you're like, Yes, we could. That's going to take us into a different class of switches, or, we're going to have to step up, your licensing, to a whole different release level or whatever. And they're like, that would be okay. Right. So there are lots of opportunities in the upsell on those. And even to flip that and talk on both sides here, even when we get down on the goes and they go, that's not really that important, and we dial it back, and maybe that deal didn't turn out to be as much as we want, that's okay, because the deal that the client got, they want. All right. And so it makes it so much easier to start the next conversation. All right. That again has that full range of possibilities, rather than getting that hard no on the quote and going, all right, now I got to figure out something else I've got to, position in here and try to get them to sign off on. And those deals close so much easier and at so much better margin. I can't emphasize that enough. Things that your clients want, they're willing to pay for.
Yes.
When you're forcing people to buy something, and I know we try to be delicate, but sometimes we get into a position where we're trying to force them to do something, they want to pay as little as possible. All right.
When was the last time you came in under budget on a vacation, Nate? Or sorry, Skip. When was the last time? I mean, it's funny, right? Why do you overspend on a vacation? It goes back to your point you made earlier.
That's right.
Your wife and you are out on a date, and you're like, it's going to be $400 for the date, extra $50 to do the thing that you really wanted to do, to get the better rows at the play, or to get an extra couple sets of nachos at the movie theater. You know what? You're going to find the money, because it's something you want. When you're on vacation, you're going to overspend, because there's always going to be like one more thing you want to do. And but when it comes to quoting with business, you're trying to squeeze in as much as you can into that dollar. But proposals are how you get to the vacation feel, the date feel, where I am getting you something that you want, and then you're enjoying this process, because now we're growing the business. We're not just mopping floors and turning things on.
No.
We're actually helping your business grow. We're on the journey with you. We're courting your clients together. How can we get them to come to you in a better fashion? And that's how you change the narrative in the proposals. And even in our software, we have really quick ways. Our proposals are really fast. You click, you import your assets, you click evaluate assets for opportunities,
right?
And it pulls up a set of projects for you in seconds. Well, is this a quote? No, because all it's doing is saying, here are the opportunities you need to talk to your client about and see if they want to do this. Just like, hey, what's on TV tonight, or what's on Netflix and chill, right? You got your plate of, wings in front of you. You're sitting on a couch. You're going to gain 13 pounds tonight, and you're going to play something. You open up the menu, and right there's the list of things you can select from. That's what our software does. It goes through and enumerates that entire inventory and looks at your project and says, here's all the things you can choose from. What should we do? That's a proposal.
Again, kind of tying back to some of the things we talked about. What I really like about that is once the client responds to that, with it on the roadmap, you're able to build that conversation, to build that anticipation towards that event. Maybe it's something that they gave, it's a project to do, some new implementation, right? There's a business value there, and they see that on the roadmap, and they're building anticipation. Yes, you've got a dollar amount to it. They're making sure that they've got the cash flow set to do that. And as they go along the way, they're realizing just how much they want. And the really cool part about these is I've seen many, many times we get these things on the roadmap and the anticipation is too much, right? Overselling it a bit, but they're doing something with their business and like, yes, this is the problem. We talked about doing that, at the end of the year, but I don't think we can wait. We need this now. Can we roll that up? Can we do that now? And you're like, sure, we might have to bump priority on this project, or maybe we push another one back a little bit, but those are great places to figure out which project do we do first, right? As opposed to please pick any project. You know,
Yeah.
where do you want to spend your life, talking to your customers out about begging them to buy something, or having them, work with you about which one to buy first? Totally different places to be.
Get them out of analysis paralysis mode, get them into the spot where like they're like excited about, oh, this project allows me to help my students more. This project allows me to sell more hot dogs out in the field. This product, like you don't on the list. And now they're like excited, like, okay, what can I afford? What can we do together? Okay, do you want me to get a quote for you on that in March next year? Yes. If it's within $10,000, I'm excited. Or if it's within $500, I'm good for this. Let's do that next March, and I'll save up for it.
Yep.
Your clients already are expecting this process. You're just avoiding it because you're lazy.
Yep. Well, let me kind of right now a real quick definition on these two. Maybe we should have started with that. But a proposal is an idea. It's a discussion about what can be done, what can be accomplished.
Correct.
Right? Whether you're increasing business or mitigating risk. Right? What do your clients want? Do they want tightened security features? No, they want to be able to sleep better at night. They want to not be able to worry about losing a bunch of business because of some security. There is a want there when you talk about proposals. Quotes are talking about how to buy something. All right. It's talking about terms, delivery dates, costs, taxes, right? Terms. Those are
checkout counter.
Very different elements. So if you just need clear definition of quote versus proposal, the key part is proposal is what allows them to do something.
Yep.
A quote, the quote makes up the elements that can be done that, but that's way too much extrapolation. All right. And if you leave that to chance, it's one reason why your quotes are so hit or miss. You have a few clients who can see a quote and go, yeah, with this part and these licenses, I could do this, right? But the majority of your clients can't extrapolate all that out. And that's why your quoting is so hit or miss. And you've got to start with the proposal. What is it they want? And sell it from that perspective. If you need a really silly analogy to keep in your head, all right, check out last week's one. All right, Adam, you hadn't heard this story. I thought of a brand new one, remembered a brand new one from way back when. And the proposal or the business opportunity was make printing email easier, right? Improve your email printing process, right? It sounds so totally absurd, but when you understand the value perspective on that, that's something your clients would buy because it provided something. In my little story, Don, my old boss, it's something he wanted and it worked. So you've got to understand what it is that your clients want, and that's how your proposal gets structured. And yes, and then at the end of the day, you are going to need to get some good quoting tools in there to make sure that works well. But if you do it right, here's the really good news on this. If you do it right, your quoting process, no matter what you have, is going to be better, right? We're going to increase the efficiency of your quoting process just because we're not running through so many iterations of requoting, repricing, and adjusting margins and all these hoops that you run through so many times. For the most part, when you get the proposal done right, the quote is almost an afterthought. All right. We need to punch in the numbers so that it'll automatically, send the order out to Ingram. So we'll get the product. Yeah, we need to do that. But it's not the focus of making this project move forward with your clients.
Definitely. Once you have if you have a good proposal, then quote system in place, you will have a very easy year. You will make a lot more money and doesn't require any kind of fancy footwork. It's just soft sell, hard sell. That's the process that we're talking about here, except we're using different terms here. Propose what you would like to do with your clients without going through the process of quoting. Propose what you want to do. You might even have numbers in there. Propose what you want to do. Show them the value and the emotional draw of these things, and get them to commit to the next 12 months with you, and say, yes, this is going to be great. As long as you keep this under $150,000 next year, we're fine. Awesome. So I've got my run book. So then when March comes up, and you need to get all the parts for this particular project. Say, are you good for $10,000 this month? They say yes.
Yes. I've been waiting
and
on
you
that.
can quote it, and you don't waste 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been pre-approved. And that's how quoting versus proposing works, people. You want to propose first. Focus on the proposal. The quote will happen naturally afterwards.
Yeah.
We are at the end of Q1, people.
Yep.
You are 25% of the way through the year.
Yep.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Think of all the things you wanted to get done this year that you haven't.
That
are
you
you in
haven't
the same
started.
spot as last year?
Yeah.
Are you going to have the same problems as last year where you say, I wish I would have?
Mm-hmm.
This is your first warning shot across the bow, people. You are 3 months away from the end of the year. And in 3 months, you'll be halfway through the year. 90 days, you'll be halfway through the year.
Mm-hmm.
Are you on track? Are you getting stuff done? That's why we have these meetings every Thursday. A lot of you guys watch them. And so hopefully you're getting reminded. This is when you need to check in with your team to say, are we on track for the year? Make sure you're getting these things out. The proposals you submitted last fall should be coming to fruition today.
Mm-hmm.
That's how far you need to be thinking ahead. If you don't do proposals, you should be submitting proposals now. So in October of this year, you're making money. This is how the world works. You have to think ahead. You've got to get out of break fix mode. You got to get out of firefighting mode. And you do that by being cognizant of what part of the year are you in and what do you need to get done to do future self a favor.
Mm-hmm.
And so next week, we'll be talking more about this end of Q1, how to prepare for it, how to wrap it up, how to kind of get your iterative process going so you don't end up in another break fix end of year mess where you didn't get what you wanted done.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Thanks for coming in, and we'll see you all next week.
All right. See you.